Zentangle is a meditative art form that is a relaxing method of creating abstract art using structured patterns. It teaches and focuses on being mindful and present. Zentangle requires no artistic skills. Welcome to the 31 Days of Zen, the October project, Luminous Lotus. Hello, I'm Sandhya Manne. I'm an artist and a certified Zentangle teacher. In this channel, we talk about creating and practicing Zentangle, my own Zentangle inspired artworks and collectibles. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on any videos that I'm going to post throughout this month of October. It is day 1 and I am using string number 1 from the Luminous Lotus string template. You can get your template by logging on to www.sandhyamannestudio.podia.com/luminouslotus. So for today's project, I am working on a regular white Zendala tile, and I will be using black, brown, white gel pen and microns and watercolors for this project. So go grab your supplies and let's get started. On to tangling now. Okay, so here we are with day 1. This is day 1 string, and this is the string template. You can get this by signing up on my website sandhyamannestudio.podia.com/luminouslotus. So we have 31 strings, and this is day 1 string 1. So this is one of the supplies, of course, the main supply that you will need. Apart from this, we will need a black 01 micron, a black 08 micron, a brown 01 micron, a 10 jelly roll. You can use any other white gel pen that works for you, and graphite pencil, white charcoal pencil, and Stub. I'm using the 555 layout pencil, so slightly thicker pencil. But if you're new to Zentangle, I would suggest use the regular Zentangle pencil. This requires a little bit of experience to use this pencil. And we will need 2 brushes, watercolors, water to go with this, and a paper towel or a rag. And I also like to use a kneading eraser. I use this brand Faber-Castell, but you can use any other brand. This kind of works well because it's dust free, and I'll show you in a minute how we're going to use this. Okay, so these are our basic supplies. Now let's get started. So first, here's the plan. I'm going to put this away. So here's the plan. We are first going to just ink the flower. I'm not going to ink the circle. Okay, so we're just going to ink the flower, and we're going to add our watercolor on it, and while it dries we can start working around this. Okay, like I said, we will be using the eraser first. So I like to kind of use the eraser to just dab on the pencil lines to lighten it. Do you see how it's lightening the pencil lines? So it kind of takes off that extra graphite. Sometimes when we are tracing, even though we want to make fine lines, our lines can get slightly darker. So instead of erasing completely, this is a great way to kind of lighten those graphite lines. I like to do this. So go ahead and just lighten. Do you see how this line is dark? And then we will just lighten this so that way it's not too sharp. Okay. Ta-da. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. So now, like I said, I'm going to use my 01 black micron, and we are going to ink just the flower. Okay, so I'm going to ink this. Now, do you see how this line is slightly, it's a little rough? So when I'm making my ink line, pen line, I'm going to kind of refine this So this is also a chance to kind of fix some of the lines. So go ahead and do that. Okay, but the other thing is that because this is a a natural living object, it doesn't have to be so perfect. If your petals are a little off, one is small, one is slightly bigger, it doesn't matter. I don't know if you've noticed, but these are all hand drawn. I've hand drawn the entire string, so it's not going to be perfect, and I wanted it that way. I didn't want to do any digital drawing on this because I wanted it to be slightly imperfect or natural rather, so it doesn't look too made up. Okay, so now I'm going to first finish this bottom part. Do you see how this is a little off? I'm going to pull it to the center a bit. So there are all kind of adjustments happening at all times. Okay, so that is my lotus all done. Now, do you see how we have these other lines? So here's where I use this eraser pencil to kind of clear up these lines, because we're going to add watercolors inside of the flower. So sometimes if your color is light, then these pencil line shows, which is kind of okay because it's anyway light, but I just want it to be cleaned up so that it doesn't distract us later. So yeah, there it is, all done. Now let's get started with adding of paint. Okay, so now let's get to coloring our lotus. So I have my water, I have my rag cloth, here is my palette, color palette, and we need 2 brushes, and I'll tell you in a minute why we need 2 brushes. But before that, I also want you to get a spare tile. You can use any used tile, that should be fine. So here we're basically going to check our colors. Okay, so I'm going to use this probably throughout this series. So we have 2 brushes, about the size, I think 2 or 3 is the size, or the size 6 and 7. So round brush is what I'm using. You can use anything that you're comfortable with. So I'm going to use the white brush for just water. Okay, so white brush is going to be dipped in the water, and here's how I'm going to use the white brush just to lay the water, and this other brown brush is what I'm going to use for the color. Now I'm going to use this, this is kind of like a magenta color, which is a mix of rose and a bit of blue. So I'm going to use this color. I'm going to add it on the water that we've already laid out. Okay, so you see that it is spreading by itself, right? So this is what we want. So I have 1 brush with the paint and 1 brush with the water, and if I need to add more water, I'll just spread it out like this. Okay, so when we add the paint on the petals as well, we're going to have it in gradation, so which we shall see now. Okay, so I'm going to use this color. Like I said, you can use any color. Okay, I'm going to try and make 31 different colors. Let's see how that goes, but this is where I'm going to start. So I'm going to use my white brush first. Okay, I'm going to lay the water on the, so if there's too much water, I kind of dab it on my rag cloth, so we don't have
we don't have too much. We don't want like a puddle of water. We just want enough water that would spread. Okay, so I made sure that I spread everywhere, and then I'm going to use my other brush, dip it in the water and take the color. So I'm just taking the color on here. I'm taking my color on here, and so here's how we're going to do. I am going to add my darkest at the bottom, and then I'm going to gently spread it out. Okay, so it just spreads out. Okay, we're going to pop off those bubbles. So notice how I've not taken any more paint on my brush. So whatever we started off with, that's what it is. So we kind of try and stay in the lines, and I just kind of, so understand one thing with watercolors. It's okay to go slightly darker, because once the paint dries, it kind of becomes more lighter. Keep it this way. Yeah. So okay, so here is my center petal that has all the color. And okay, now I'm going to add water to this petal. Just going to add some more paint here, just a little bit more. Okay, so now back to my water brush, and I am just going to add the paint here, because I want this to kind of dry a little bit before I move on to this section. So we're going to work in alternate petals, okay, so we don't muddy anything. So again, we're going to use the same color. So I'm going to add my darkest here, and then the tip of the petals I'm going to keep it light. Okay, so I'm going to add Okay, now we do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so go slow, enjoy the process. It's fun. Adding watercolors is really fun. Okay. now I'm going to do it, these two. I'm going to start, or maybe we can do this one because this one is dried up now. So I'm going to do this part. So I don't want it to leave patchy. Like, do you see how it was? There was a light space in between. So we'll make sure there's no patches. It should be in fine gradation, like the way here it is. Okay. And this one is kind of spread out a bit. But we'll just smoothen it out. Okay. Okay. So while these two dry, I'm going to work on this one here. Take out the excess water. You don't want excess water. Okay. I'm going to add here as well the water first. Okay, so I think this one is ready. We'll start with this one. This one looks to be ready. You see how the color is changing, how it's kind of lightened up a little bit. So now I'm going to start on this. I'm using the white brush to just smoothen it out, and now I'm going to use the water for this section. Okay, so now we're going to do these 3 sections. So let's go ahead and start with the paint, with the water. Okay, so here we're done adding paint with colors to the lotus. Now we shall get to the tangle part. So I'm just going to leave it for a couple of seconds for it to kind of dry. Even if it is semi-dry, we can start working. I just don't want my hands and fingers to go on it. So I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes and then we should start with tangles. Okay, so here I have my tile after adding the watercolors. So now here we are going to add fragment 13B. Okay, we're going to add fragment 13B, which kind of goes like this. So we start, we are going to ink this line like this. Start with a dot and kind of connect the center dot with 3 corners, and we're going to add auras like this. So I'm working with the black pen here. So basically we are going to use white gel pen for the flower, and we'll use a brown pen for the outside of this section. Now you could alternate, you could use brown inside and black outside. It's all fine. So I am using brown for the black for the inner section and brown for the outer section. Okay, so we have the background done. Oh, it looks so pretty right away. Okay, so now I'm going to work inside of this flower. Okay, so I'm using my Jelly Roll 10 white. You can use any other brand, and I am going to use my scrap paper to kind of activate my pen. And I'm going to add an aura like that. So here we're going to do this tangle called Aahroma. It's a beautiful tangle. So we start off with a center line and then pull out 2 lines on either side like that. And then we kind of give a rounding right at the top and just fill in those little gaps that has come up. Okay, now for the center part, again I'm going to do the aura. So let's go ahead. Make sure you stay very close to the black line. And make sure this is dried up before you put your hands on. Okay, so here we're going to do this tangle called Cute. It's a lovely tangle. So it starts with this little teardrop shape, and then we kind of aura this, and then we're going to add beads to this, like sleeping beads. Okay, and then we're going to put a lot of lines. Okay, use your pen very gently. Okay, so now that I have this drawn, now I'm going to kind of round these top as well, the tops of these lines as well. So I'm just going to quickly go around giving that curve shape. Ta-da. Okay. So now here, again, I'm going to aura this section. And we are going to add a border tangle. Stay close to the line, to the black line, like that. Okay, so now I'm going to make a border shape. So I'm going to add another line like this, and another line here. So here I'm going to start with this tangle called Scoodle. Okay, so I do the same thing here. We start off with drawing this the shape. Okay, now here we're going to do this tangle called Ennies. So again, first aura, and then we make these flux shape. Okay, so we repeat the same thing here. Okay, ta-da. So that is done. And now here, these sections, we're going to do this tangle called Finery. So it goes like this. You just pull out a line and pull out these downward facing lines, and then we may add these intricate detail like that. Okay, ta-da. So this is done. Now let's get to the outside section. So we're going to use a brown pen. I'm using my brown pen. So I'm just going to gently give an aura to this with my brown pen. So we're just auraing the circle part. Notice I'm not really worried about my lines being very straight or perfect. They're slightly wavy, and that looks good. Okay, so here we are going to make the V shapes. So let's see, I want mine to kind of come in like this. So with my pencil, I'm using the regular graphite pencil. So here, 1, 2, 3. So we're just eyeballing this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, 10. So I kind of got like 10 sections. So let me just join them. So very gently. I don't know if you can even see my lines, but I'm making them very gentle. Okay, so I have this side as well. Okay, so something like this I have. Now here we're going to do this Tangle Aahroma. So we're going to kind of go in and make our lines. So before that, let's ink this. So I'm kind of happy. If you want to change it, you can always, so that's why you make your lines very gentle, so you can use your, you know, this pencil eraser to kind of fix them. But I think I'm happy with mine. It's not perfect, but it's good. It's great. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with inking my lines. Okay, so I like to do my lines like this, just make all one direction first and then go back in for the second, for the other direction. Okay, so here I'm going to start off this tangle with a straight line and then two on either side, or maybe one, depends upon how much space you have. I think I'm just going to leave that. And so I'm going to start with okay, so I'm going to go in and add round there. Although I have not mentioned it in my supplies list, you can always use 0.8 black micron to, or 0.5 black micron or brown micron, so whichever micron you have, the thicker tip one, either 5 or 8, you could use that for filling those gaps. So okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay, so take your time, go around and finish the entire outer section, then we shall work on the inner section. This is a bigger section here. Okay, so I am going to go take my time to kind of finish all of that, and then we shall come back for this. Okay, so here we're gonna do this Tangle called Corsace. So it goes like this. I'm still working with the brown pen. You make a U, upside down U shape, and you kind of create an R, and then add beads to it. Okay, so on the inside of this we are going to pull out straight lines. And here I am going to add aura. Okay, and we're just gonna add more circles here. And I'm just gonna add these little aura shapes like that. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. Start with an upside down U, aura that, and then have these circles. Okay, so take your time, go around and finish this. Okay, so I'm gonna go around to this, and then we can get to shading. Okay, so I am done adding all the details. I'm just going to go back and kind of redo these lines just so to make it slightly darker with weight. Okay, so if your lines are very thin, you can go ahead and do this. If you made your lines nice and dark, don't worry about this. So I am just going to go around and make my lines slightly darker, and then we shall get to shading. Okay, so I'm done. Now let's get to shading. So let's start with the lotus. So I'm going around the petals like that. Okay, so I've just added the pencil all around, and I'm just going to blend this now. Okay, now here I'm just going to do it on one side. It gives a little dimension to the petal. So ta-da, there it is, the lotus done. Now I'm just gonna go and add my pencil right along this brown aura line that we drew. So we're not doing anything for the fragment that we created, but this pencil shading is going to be on the outer side. So I'm just cleaning up all these inner space where I have my graphite showing up. And of course now I'll just blend this in. Okay, so now here we're just gonna add pencil here. So I'm just gonna blend this. Okay, so I happen to pick up the regular graphite pencil, so just using that instead of the darker pencil that I hope to use, but then I just accidentally grabbed this and I've been working with this, so I'm just going to continue with this. Okay, there it is. I'm just going to lighten this. It's become too dark. So okay, so here it is, all done. Now I am going to journal this with my brown pen. Yeah, I think I'll journal it with my brown pen somewhere here. Okay, so there it is, all done. I'm just restating that, just want to make it slightly darker. So yes, there it is, all done. So I am going to add my pencil along this line because I want this little triangle to pop up. like that it kind of gives that sunlight or sunlit effect, and lotus and sun kind of goes well, so it's looking really interesting. Like that, now we have these triangle shapes popping up. Earlier it wasn't, so yeah. Okay, so there it is, our day one project all done. Okay, so it is day one, and today's date is 6th October 2025, and this is Luminous Lotus. Yeah, so we started off with Tangle Cute, and then Tangle Aahroma, and then we did Scoodle, then we did Ennies, and then we did Finery. And with the black pen we did Fragment 13B, or rather B13, and then finally we added this tangle called Corsace. Okay, so these have been our tangles for this project.
Hope you had fun on this project with me. I would love to see your creations. So head on to our Facebook group, Zendala, where all the after party fun happens. Share your creations there and check out the works by other Zendala. If you're sharing your works on social media, then please do tag me at Sandhya Manne or hashtag LuminousLotus Day 1. So I get to see all your lovely works there. A quick note, these projects and these videos are for your personal use, and no part of this can be used for any kind of commercial purposes. To understand the Zentangle method and to get started on your own Zentangle journey, check out my website www.sandhyamannestudio.com for classes, courses and workshops. Okay, so now it's time to comment. Please comment and let me know how you enjoyed this project, because that really helps me plan out my next set of videos. Also, it's time to show some love, so hit that like button and share the video. And subscribe to the channel. Okay, so to join this October project, Luminous Lotus, log on to www.sandhyamannestudio.com. Sorry, www.sandhyamannestudio.podium.com/LuminousLotus, and I will see you tomorrow with another project. Until then, remember to breathe and smile. See ya. Namaste.